Hello everybody, welcome back to Killer Film Reviews. Today I will be talking about the film Dracula Untold, which is an often overlooked film in my eyes because of what it was going to do. It was going to launch the MonsterVerse for Universal, which sadly collapsed once that Mummy movie came out. As for me, I give this movie a nice 7 out of 10 just because it's got some good parts in it, like the part where Dracula's literally, or Vlad, gets turned into a vampire. That's some cool scenery right there that you see. So cast wise, Luke Evans plays Vlad. Dominic Cooper plays Maymed. Sarah Gadon plays Marina. Art Parkinson and Egress. Charles Dance, Master Vampire. Basically a lot of different characters here, but the main plot of this movie is basically Vlad is he's having to give an offering to Mehmet, I guess. I'm just going to call him Mehmet, of like all the sons of his kingdom pretty much. And Vlad had a dark past of being Vlad the Impaler, and he took down a lot of people before, and he didn't even care who it was that he took down. Basically, Mehmet just is... This is portrayed as a big bully to Vlad, and he just wants their sons, and then he wants Vlad's own son pretty much, which causes Vlad to get... Vlad initially agrees, right, to give up his son, but then basically his wife is like cowering in the corner or whatever, and then he's like... He basically has like one of them F this moments, and he basically is just like... Come here, boy, and he basically just takes out the person that's trying to take his son away, and they basically kind of just... They gather everybody up, they come up with a plan to retreat into the mountains. Meanwhile, Vlad goes off and gets turned into a vampire. Like what's the character that they just call him Master Vampire? Charles Dance, Master Vampire. They don't really give Master Vampire a name. I've seen the name Cogula thrown around a little bit. That makes sense. But, yeah, this Master Vampire guy he kind of just turns Vlad into a vampire, then he just basically does nothing for the rest of the film. But they kind of show him as Vlad's trying to resist the blood. Like, Vlad's trying to resist, like, eating the blood or whatever, because he's a vampire and he's supposed to resist it because he gets a temporary gift from the Master Vampire. We'll just call him Cogula. Basically, the gift will be temporary if he doesn't consume blood or whatever, and he just eventually, the film kind of builds up to that, and he eventually just has to feed, and has to do that. I thought the plot was rather simplistic. I thought that they could have put some more emphasis on why Mehmet is trying to take sons away from kingdoms. Like, they don't really specify the motive. I guess the motive is probably war. I've also seen the criticisms that Mehmet is portrayed like badly. Like, the whole film was kind of Islamophobic according to some. I can see that. I can see that easily in the film. I can see that. As for the film's themes and stuff, is it pretty straightforward? Yes. Is there any sort of graphic goriness to the film? Yes, in some parts. Obviously, you're talking Dracula, vampires. There's going to be some gory scenes, but they don't tend to do them. They don't tend to do them over the top. If that's what you're thinking, tends to be a good balance here and there. Like, this movie is kind of like one of those films where you're just like, you want to watch a film that just did poorly at the box office or whatever, and you just watch it, and you're just like, you can see that there's some parts of the film that are good, like the whole father-son relationship between Vlad and his son. That's a good part of the film, of course. Then, of course, now we're getting into more spoilers here, like the end credit scene, kind of like with Vlad meeting like a reincarnation of his wife or whatever was kind of weird, honestly, but I sort of get it. And seeing the Master Vampire just show up behind him, Cogula, whatever you want to call him, saying, "Let the games begin." It's just like, What games? You literally did nothing during the entire film. You just turned Vlad into a vampire and then you just basically did nothing. It's like, I would have thought you would have did something like show it to Vlad and say, these are the consequences of your actions, blah, 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 but nothing. Like, literally, it's just, there's like almost no consequences to being a vampire besides needing to feed. And Vlad basically leads a whole entire army of vampires and then just has them all gone, and then you have the priest guy show up and basically take the son away. Like, the whole film kind of seems kind of spaghetti plot for some of it, honestly. It's like goes all over a little bit. Not as much as Star Wars Episode 9 though. That film had a lot of issues. But as for the plot of this film, yeah, it's pretty much simplistic, but the priest was kind of awkward. All the scenes with the priest were very awkward indeed. He's just kind of running around being like crazy and whatnot. I don't think the priest was a good representation of what he was supposed to represent, just to put it lightly. But as for Mehmet and his portrayal, yeah, they kind of portrayed him like really badly. I agree that they portrayed him badly. As for when number 2 is coming, we have no idea at this point. It is literally, nothing's been said for years. I think it's probably on the back burner somewhere. There's probably a script written, maybe, maybe not. But I think it deserves a sequel, at least one sequel, not a whole monster-verse, of course, because that idea basically collapsed. I haven't even seen The Mummy because I don't think that film is good by the looks of the trailers and based on what others have said about the film. But the original The Mummy series, I probably will review at some point and watch that. Anyways, don't forget to like, watch, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching Killer Film Reviews today.